A poor cleaning lady is caught protecting the millionaire's special daughter, and his reaction surprises everyone. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, what city are you watching from? And at the end, don't forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story. Stop! Don't touch her! Elena Torres's firm voice echoed through the mansion's hallway. The young maid appeared at the bedroom door and froze for a second at the scene unfolding before her eyes. In the middle of the room, little Lily Harper, only 5 years old, trembled while holding on to a worn teddy bear, her eyes full of tears and her breathing broken by sobs. In front of her, Vivian Blake, the stepmother, was raising her hand to close the door, as if she wanted to lock the child inside. "You'll stay here until you learn not to defy me, do you hear?" Vivian's voice was full of anger. Elena took a few steps forward, instinctively placing herself between Lily and Vivian. "That's enough." She raised her arms, shielding the girl with her own body. "That's not how you treat a child." Vivian widened her eyes, surprised at the boldness of the newly hired maid. Then she gave a cynical smile. "Well, what a scene," she said mockingly. "Who do you think you are, interfering with how I raise my stepdaughter?" Elena didn't back down. She felt Lily's tiny hands clutching the edge of her apron and quickly bent down to hug the girl, giving her a sense of safety. "I may not be important here," she answered firmly, "but I know cowardice when I see it." The air grew tense. Vivian stepped closer, ready to argue, when the bedroom door opened. William Harper appeared in the doorway. His expression was stern, but his eyes showed a trace of confusion. "What's going on here?" Vivian spoke first, turning dramatically toward him. "Thank God you're here," she exclaimed, placing her hand on her chest as if she had just faced a big scare. This maid barged into the room and frightened Lily. I was trying to calm her when she came in acting crazy. Elena stood up, still keeping Lily behind her, and tried to explain. "That's not true. I heard shouting and found Vivian trying to lock the girl inside the room." "Outrageous lie," Vivian interrupted, her eyes flashing with anger. "You're just trying to slander me so you look like a good Samaritan." William looked at both of them, taking in their words carefully. For a moment, his eyes lingered on Lily, still hiding behind Elena's legs, clinging to her as if she were her only protection. But before responding, he let out a deep breath and spoke in a controlled tone. "Enough. I don't want any more scenes in my house." Vivian gave a satisfied look, believing she had won the argument. Elena, however, stood tall and kept holding the child's hand. William ran his hand through his hair, as if trying to organize his thoughts. "Elena, take Lily to the garden. She needs to calm down." Elena hesitated, but obeyed. She took Lily's little hand and led her out, casting one last steady glance at Vivian, who smiled arrogantly. As they went down the stairs, Lily tugged gently at Elena's apron. Don't leave me alone with her," she whispered, her eyes filled with tears. Elena held her hand tighter. "I won't leave you, princess. I promise." From the top of the stairs, Vivian watched with her arms crossed and a cold smile on her lips. And William, still standing at the bedroom door, kept his brow furrowed, torn between trusting Vivian and the unsettling feeling that something was very wrong in the way Lily clung to that young maid she barely knew. In the mansion's back garden, Elena sat on a stone bench beside Lily, who was still clutching her teddy bear tightly. The peaceful setting was a sharp contrast to the tension they had left behind. "It's all right now, princess," Elena murmured, stroking the girl's blonde hair. "Out here, it's just you and me." Lily lifted her tearful eyes and whispered, "Why is Vivian so mean to me?" Elena sighed, choosing her words carefully. "Sometimes people become bitter when they can't find happiness. But that's not your fault, okay? She seems like an evil witch from a fairy tale," said Lily, making a face that drew a smile from Elena. "An evil witch without a magic wand and with way too much Botox," Elena whispered playfully, making Lily giggle softly. Suddenly, the sound of high heels on the stone floor announced Vivian's approach. She appeared on the back porch, arms crossed with a look of pure disdain. "What a touching scene," she said, stepping down with a superior air. The little maid playing child psychologist. Elena stood up slowly, keeping Lily behind her. "I'm just doing my job, Mrs. Blake. Your job is to clean the house, not fill the girl's head with nonsense." Vivian stepped closer. "And certainly not to speak badly of me to her." "I don't need to speak badly of you. Your actions speak for themselves. Vivian narrowed her eyes. Watch that sharp tongue. Maids like you are easily replaced. Elena gave an ironic smile. That must be why you've gone through so many maids this year. Or maybe they just realized that working here is like taking care of 2 children instead of 1? Lily let out a little giggle, covering her mouth with her tiny hands. Vivian turned red with anger. How dare you? Dare what? Tell the truth. Elena feigned innocence. Sorry, I forgot that in this house the truth is a luxury not everyone can afford. You're fired, Vivian shouted. You can't fire me. Elena replied calmly. Mr. Harper is the one who hired me, and as far as I know, he's still the owner of this house. At that moment, Lily stepped out from behind Elena and looking straight at Vivian said clearly, You're a wicked witch. The silence that followed was broken by Elena's laughter, which she couldn't hold back. Vivian was left speechless, clearly not expecting a 5-year-old to confront her that way. Lily Harper. Vivian managed to stammer. You cannot speak to me like that. Why not? Lily crossed her little arms, unconsciously imitating Elena's posture. Elena said we should always tell the truth. Elena crouched down and whispered in Lily's ear. How about we go have a snack? I think I smell pancakes. Pancakes? Lily's eyes lit up for the first time that day. The two of them headed to the kitchen, leaving Vivian standing in the garden, trembling with rage and still processing what had just happened. In the kitchen, Elena opened the fridge and started taking out ingredients. Do you know how to make pancakes? Lily asked, sitting on the high stool. I make the best pancakes in Texas. Elena tied on the apron. But I'll need your help to make them perfect. Really? Lily clapped her hands. What can I do? You can be my official assistant chef. First, let's crack these eggs. Elena placed 2 eggs in front of Lily and patiently showed her how to break them without making too much of a mess. When a small piece of shell fell into the bowl, Elena made an exaggerated face. Oops, looks like this egg was wearing a helmet. Lily laughed so hard she almost fell off the stool. Elena, you're funny, and you're the best assistant chef I've ever had. Now let's make something special. Elena took a spoon and began drawing shapes in the pancake batter as they cooked in the pan. The first came out like a crooked heart. The second looked more like a squashed star. How about a teddy bear? Elena suggested, trying to shape the next pancake like Lily's favorite toy. That looks more like an elephant with a headache, Lily said, laughing. Hey, Elena pretended to be offended. I'm an unappreciated artist. As they laughed and made stranger and stranger pancake shapes, Elena noticed something magical happening. Lily's smile was genuine. Her eyes sparkled with joy, and she chattered excitedly about everything that came to her mind. Elena, can you teach me how to draw? Lily asked, her face covered in batter up to her ears. Of course. How about we make a notebook just for us? A secret book of drawings and silly recipes? Secret? Lily whispered, thrilled. Secret. Elena confirmed with a wink. No one else can see it. It will be our special treasure. Not even the Wicked Witch? Especially not the Wicked Witch, Elena laughed. Witches only know about potions and ugly spells. They wouldn't understand our art. They spent the rest of the afternoon creating their special notebook. Elena drew simple things that Lily could copy. Flowers, butterflies, little houses with triangle roofs. Lily, in turn, made her own versions. Always more colorful and imaginative. Look, Elena! Lily showed a drawing of 2 figures holding hands. That's us in the garden. Elena felt her heart tighten with emotion. It's beautiful, princess. You have so much talent. Can I draw you making funny pancakes? You can, and I'll draw you being the best assistant chef in the world. Outside the kitchen, hidden behind the door, Vivian was watching with an increasingly dark expression. She saw Lily smile and laugh in a way she hadn't since her mother's death months earlier. The bond between the maid and the child was growing stronger by the minute, and it disturbed her deeply. Having fun, little one? Vivian entered the kitchen with a forced smile. Lily immediately stopped laughing and shrank back onto the little stool. Elena instinctively stepped between the two of them. We were just making a snack, Elena said diplomatically. What a mess, Vivian remarked, eyeing the animal-shaped pancakes scattered across the table. William doesn't like disorder in the kitchen. I was just about to finish cleaning up. Elena began picking things up, but Lily tugged on her sleeve. Can Elena have dinner with us today? Lily asked timidly. Of course not, Vivian answered coldly. Maids eat in the kitchen, that's how things work here. Elena saw the disappointment on Lily's face and felt a stab of anger, but she kept her composure. It's all right, princess. I'll eat here and save a special pancake for you tomorrow. How about that? Lily nodded, but her eyes had lost some of their sparkle. When Vivian left the kitchen, taking Lily with her, Elena went on cleaning and thinking about what had happened that afternoon. The little girl had completely changed in her company, and she knew she had found something special in that child who so badly needed affection. From upstairs, Vivian stood by the window, watching Elena cross the garden toward the staff quarters. Her hands clenched into fists as a dark idea began to take shape in her mind. That maid was becoming a bigger problem than she had imagined, and problems needed to be eliminated. Elena, on the other hand, climbed to her room with a lighter heart than she had felt in a long time. For the first time since arriving at the mansion, she truly felt she belonged there. Not because of the work, but because of a 5-year-old girl who had called her a friend and made her feel needed in that house. The next morning, Elena went down to the kitchen humming softly, still smiling from the afternoon before. The day seemed promising after the bond she had formed with Lily. She prepared the family's breakfast and was setting the table when Vivian appeared in the dining room, impeccably dressed, her expression unreadable to Elena. "Good morning, Mrs. Blake." Elena greeted politely, placing the cup of coffee in front of her. Vivian murmured, never taking her eyes off Elena as she served. "I hope you slept well in the staff quarters." "I slept wonderfully, thank you. The bed is very comfortable for someone without a guilty conscience." Vivian narrowed her eyes but was interrupted by William, who entered the room already in his flawless suit, checking messages on his phone. "Good morning," he said absent-mindedly, sitting down at the table. "Good morning, Daddy." Lily came running down the stairs, her hair still tousled from sleep, and threw herself into her father's lap. William smiled genuinely for the first time Elena had ever seen, and she felt a strange pang in her chest watching the scene. "Good morning, Princess. Did you sleep well?" "I did, and I dreamed of pancakes that could fly." Lily laughed, looking over at Elena, who winked conspiratorially at her. "Flying pancakes?" William raised an eyebrow, amused. "That must have been a very sweet dream." "Elena said that happy pancakes learn how to fly," Lily explained seriously, making Elena choke on her own laughter. "Elena said that?" William looked at the maid with curiosity. "Well, Elena began, but Vivian cut her off. "Lily, dear, go have your breakfast in the kitchen. The adults need to talk." "But I want to stay with Daddy." Lily pouted. "Go on, Princess." William kissed her forehead. "We'll play later." Lily left reluctantly, not without waving to Elena first. As soon as the little girl disappeared, Vivian rose from the table with a dramatic expression. "William, I need to talk to you about something very serious." Elena kept arranging the table, pretending not to listen, though all her senses were on alert. "What is it?" William asked, sipping his coffee. "It's about—" Vivian paused theatrically. "Your mother's crystal vase." Elena froze. "What crystal vase? What about it?" William frowned. "Well," Vivian sighed heavily, "I didn't want to upset you, but last night when I went to check that everything was in order in the living room, I found it broken on the floor." Elena turned abruptly. "What do you mean broken? I cleaned that room yesterday and it was perfectly fine." "Of course you'll deny it," Vivian feigned sadness. "But the evidence speaks for itself." William stood up, his expression serious. "Show me this vase." The three of them walked to the living room. On the floor, right under the table where the crystal vase usually sat, shards were scattered and Elena's eyes widened. Some of the pieces still had house dust stuck to them. "This is a setup," Elena burst out. "I didn't break any vase." "Elena," Vivian said in a condescending tone, "I know it must be hard to admit a mistake, but accidents happen. What matters is taking responsibility." "Responsibility?" Elena let out a bitter laugh. "The only responsibility I see here is yours for staging this poorly done act. How dare you accuse me?" Vivian placed a hand on her chest, pretending to be offended. "Oh, it's very simple." Elena crossed her arms. "First, because I cleaned this room yesterday at 5 in the afternoon and the vase was perfectly fine. Second, because there's cleaning powder stuck to the shards, which means someone broke a clean vase on purpose. And third," she pointed to the floor, Because this person was so clever, they forgot to sweep up the powder that fell when the vase broke. William looked at the floor, and indeed there was a small pile of cleaning powder right next to the shards. That must have fallen while she was cleaning, Vivian stammered. Of course, Elena laughed ironically. Because I'm the kind of person who cleans vases on the inside too, right? If the vase was that expensive, it should have come with a bulletproof vest against clumsy stepmothers. Elena, Vivian's face turned red. How dare you? I dare because it's as clear as day that you staged this whole situation. What I don't understand is why. William remained silent, watching the two women closely. His eyes moved from the shards on the floor to the cleaning powder, then to their expressions. Maybe, Elena continued with a sly smile, you broke the vase by accident and now you're trying to blame me. It happens in the best of families, especially when someone wears 6-inch heels and can't walk straight. I don't wear 6-inch heels, Vivian protested automatically, then realized she had taken the bait. Oh, don't you? Elena pretended to be surprised. I thought it was just compensation for something? Height, maybe? William coughed, hiding what might have been a laugh. Enough, he said at last. Someone broke the vase. What matters now is cleaning up this mess. But William, Vivian insisted, aren't you going to fire her? She destroyed a family heirloom. I didn't destroy anything. Elena shot back. And if you want me fired so badly, why don't you just admit it's because you can't stand seeing Lily happy? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous is an adult being jealous of a maid because a child likes her, Elena said firmly. But relax, this isn't a competition. You were never a match anyway. Vivian was left speechless for a moment, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. William, she finally managed to say. Are you going to let her speak to me like this? William ran a hand through his hair, visibly tired. Elena, please clean this up. Vivian, come with me. We need to talk. Elena bent down to pick up the shards but couldn't resist one last remark. I hope the talk is about acting lessons, because that performance really needs work. Vivian stormed out of the room, followed by William, who gave Elena an unreadable look before leaving. Left alone in the room, Elena began gathering the crystal pieces, muttering under her breath. Breaking a vase and blaming someone else. How original. Bet she learned that from a soap opera. Suddenly, she felt a presence behind her and turned. It was Lily, who had appeared silently. Elena, are you sad? No, princess. I'm just cleaning up the mess someone made. Did the evil witch break the vase? Lily asked innocently. Elena smiled. What do you think? I think she did, Lily whispered. She always breaks things, even people's feelings. Elena stopped picking up the shards and looked at the girl, impressed by the wisdom of a 5-year-old. You know something, Lily? You're smarter than a lot of adults out there. That's because I pay attention. Lily sat on the floor beside her. My mom said we should always pay attention to real people. Elena felt her heart tighten. For the first time, she fully understood why she was fighting so hard to stay in that house. It wasn't just a job. It was a mission. Your mother was a very wise woman, she said softly. You're like her, Lily smiled. She protected people too. From the hallway, raised voices could be heard. William and Vivian were arguing, and although Elena couldn't make out the words, the tone made it clear the conversation wasn't going the way Vivian expected. Come on, princess. Elena held out her hand to Lily. How about we go make some pancakes that don't fly? I need something solid after so much fantasy around here. Lily giggled and took her hand, and the two of them headed to the kitchen, leaving behind the shards of the vase and the pieces of Vivian's poorly planned scheme. The next morning, William came down for breakfast, looking more relaxed than Elena had seen him in days. Lily ran to him, as she always did, but this time she was holding something different in her hands. Daddy, look! She waved a colorful drawing. Elena taught me how to draw bicycles. William took the paper and studied the drawing. It was clearly the work of a 5-year-old, but there was something special about the way Lily had captured the joy of movement. It's very pretty, princess. You have a talent for art. Elena said I can learn to ride a real bike. Lily hopped with excitement. Can I, Daddy? Please? Elena, who was serving breakfast, tried to intervene discreetly. Lily, your father must be busy today. Actually, William interrupted, surprising everyone. I was thinking about taking you to the park today. It's been a long time since we've done that. Lily's eyes lit up with excitement. Really? Can we bring Elena too? She promised to teach me. William hesitated for a moment, glancing at Elena, who was clearly embarrassed by the situation. Mr. Harper, I can stay here and… No. Lily ran over and grabbed Elena's hand. You promised, and a promise is a promise. William watched the obvious bond between his daughter and the maid. After the vase incident the day before, he had been reflecting on many things. All right, he finally said. You can come, Elena. Lily needs someone who knows about bicycles. Elena tried to hide the smile that insisted on appearing. Of course, if it's necessary. It is necessary, Lily shouted, jumping with joy. We're all going, like a family. An awkward silence hung in the air for a few seconds. Elena lowered her eyes, and William cleared his throat nervously. From the top of the stairs, Vivian watched the scene with a dark expression. An hour later, the three of them were at the local park. William had brought Lily's pink bicycle in the trunk, still with the training wheels she had never used. Elena carried a small backpack with water and some snacks, feeling strangely like part of that little family group. Where do we start, Teacher Elena? William asked with a half-smile. First, Elena replied, placing her hands on her hips in a dramatic pose. We need to check if the bike has any loose parts that might fly off. You never know when a bicycle might decide to turn into a little airplane. Lily laughed heartily. Things don't really fly, Elena. Oh no? Elena pretended to be completely surprised. Then why does my hair fly when the wind blows? Because you don't tie it back right. Lily burst out laughing, running around the bicycle. William watched the exchange with fascination. It had been months since he had seen Lily so carefree and happy. All right, little pilot. Elena adjusted the helmet on Lily's head. The first rule is, if you fall, I'll fall down too, very dramatically, so you won't feel alone. You would really do that? Lily asked, her eyes wide. Of course, and I'll shout, oh my knee, really loud so everyone will think I got hurt too. Elena, you're crazy. Lily laughed so hard she almost lost her balance. Elena held the bike firmly while Lily climbed on. Now, the second rule. Pedal slowly, like a turtle in a hurry. Turtles don't hurry, William commented, stepping closer. This one does, Elena winked. It's a special turtle that's in a rush to get home before the soap opera starts. Lily laughed again, and even William let out a genuine laugh. Ready? Elena asked, beginning to push the bike gently. Ready, Lily shouted, pedaling with determination. Elena ran beside the bike, holding the seat and talking nonstop. That's it. You're doing great. Look at you. You're already faster than a racing snail. Faster than a snail? Lily laughed while pedaling. Much faster. You're almost as fast as an athletic snail. William followed behind, watching how Elena managed to make his daughter feel both brave and playful at the same time. There was something special in the way she treated Lily, never with condescension, but with all the affection in the world. After a few laps, Elena gradually let go of the bike, running beside her without Lily realizing she was already pedaling on her own. Elena! Elena! Lily suddenly shouted. I'm doing it! You're flying, princess! Elena shouted back, running alongside with her arms outstretched as if she were flying too. That was when it happened. Overcome with joy, Lily cried out, Look, Mommy, I did it! The silence that followed was filled with emotion. Elena stopped running abruptly, her eyes filling with tears. Lily also stopped, realizing what she had just said. I'm sorry, she whispered, getting off the bike. I didn't mean to. Elena knelt down in front of the little girl and hugged her tightly. You don't have to apologize, princess. You gave me the most beautiful gift in the world. Really? Lily asked, her eyes shining. Really. Thank you for letting me be your heart, Mommy, at least for today. William watched the scene from a distance, something stirring in his chest that he couldn't name. For the first time in months, he saw his daughter completely happy and safe in someone's arms. And for the first time since his wife's death, he felt there might be hope that his family could be happy again. A genuine smile spread across his face, the first in a long time. Daddy! Lily ran toward him. Did you see? I rode the bike all by myself. I did, princess. He lifted her into his arms. I'm very proud of you. Elena is the best teacher in the world, Lily declared, waving at Elena, who was still kneeling on the grass, discreetly wiping her eyes. Looks like she is, William agreed, looking at Elena with a new expression in his eyes. Elena stood and came closer, still a little embarrassed by the moment. She got the hang of it so quickly. Lily is a very brave girl. She takes after her mother, William said softly, and Elena noticed there was no sadness in his voice, only tenderness for the memory. "Can I ride a little more?" Lily asked. "Of course, princess, but slowly, all right?" While Lily pedaled in circles around the park, Elena and William sat on a nearby bench. The silence between them wasn't uncomfortable, but full of unspoken things. "Thank you," William said at last. "For what?" "For making my daughter smile again. I hadn't seen her like this in months." Elena didn't know how to respond, so they just sat there, watching Lily play with a genuine happiness that seemed to spread to everyone around her. On the other side of the park, behind a large tree, Vivian watched the whole scene with clenched fists and a face twisted with anger. She saw William smiling for the first time in months, saw Lily treating the maid as if she were her mother, and felt every moment like a stab in her plans. When she heard Lily call Elena Mommy, she nearly screamed in frustration. When she saw William looking at Elena with admiration, her blood boiled. And when she witnessed the three of them laughing together like a perfect family, she knew she had to act quickly and decisively. She turned her back on the park and walked toward the car, her mind already working on a new plan. This time, there would be no room for mistakes. Elena Torres had to be out of their lives, and she knew exactly how to make it happen. In the park, unaware of the storm that was brewing, William, Elena, and Lily kept enjoying the happiest day they'd had in a long time. In the days that followed the outing at the park, the atmosphere in the Harper mansion had subtly changed. William seemed more present at meals, Lily hummed through the hallways, and even Elena found herself whistling while cleaning the house. It was as if a ray of sunlight had finally broken through the windows of that home. But not everyone was enjoying this new harmony. Vivian watched every interaction between William, Elena, and Lily with growing irritation. The scene in the park had been the last straw. Seeing William truly smile for the first time in months, seeing Lily call that maid Mommy, was more than she could bear. On Tuesday morning, while Elena played with Lily in the garden and William worked in his office, Vivian set her plan in motion. She waited until Elena went upstairs to arrange the bedrooms, then walked quietly into William's office. "Darling," she said, knocking softly on the door. "I need to talk to you about something urgent." William looked up from the documents he was reviewing. "What is it, Vivian? I'm a bit busy here." "That's exactly what it's about." She approached his desk. "Did you leave some important contracts here last night?" "Yes, I did. The merger contracts with the Seattle company." "Why?" Vivian put on a worried expression. "Well, they're not here anymore." William frowned and looked at the desk, then at the drawers. "What do you mean they're not here? I left them right here on top of the desk last night." "I know, dear. I saw when you left the office yesterday evening. But this morning," she paused dramatically, "there's no sign of them." William began shuffling through the papers on the desk, then opened drawers, searching frantically. "This doesn't make any sense. Those documents are extremely confidential. They're worth millions." "William," Vivian said cautiously, "I need to tell you something, but I don't want you to think badly of me for bringing it up." "What is it?" "Last night, when I went downstairs to get a glass of water, I saw Elena leaving this office." William stopped searching and looked directly at her. "Elena was in my office? Are you sure?" "Absolutely. She seemed nervous when she saw me. She said she was just checking if everything was in order for today's cleaning, but—" Vivian let the sentence hang in the air. "But what?" "William, I don't want to accuse anyone unfairly, but she seemed very interested in your safe. She spent quite some time looking at it." William's blood ran cold. That safe held not only money, but extremely important company documents, passwords, access codes. "Are you sure about what you're saying, Vivian?" "I am. And there's one more thing." She hesitated theatrically. "I spoke with Margaret, the neighbor. She mentioned she saw Elena talking to a strange man at the entrance of the property the day before yesterday. It may be nothing, but—" William stood up abruptly. "Call Elena here. Now." Vivian left the office with a disguised smile on her lips. A few minutes later, Elena appeared at the door, still wearing her apron stained with garden soil. "You wanted to see me, sir." "Sit down, Elena." Something in William's tone made Elena realize there was trouble. She sat in the chair across from his desk, her hands clasped in her lap. "Alina, some very important documents are missing from my office." "Missing?" she asked, genuinely surprised. "What kind of documents?" "Confidential contracts that were on this desk last night. Vivian said she saw you leaving this office yesterday." Elena's eyes widened. "I didn't come into this office last night, Mr. Harper. Not last night, not ever, except to clean when you're present." "Elena," William said seriously, "this is a very serious accusation. Those documents are extremely valuable. I understand how serious this is, but I swear on my mother's memory that I never touched any document." Elena stood up, visibly shaken. "Do you really believe I would steal anything from this house?" "I don't know what to believe anymore," William admitted, running a hand through his hair. "But the facts are, the documents are gone, and you were seen in my office." "By who? By Vivian?" Elena couldn't hide the sarcastic tone. "What a surprise! The same person who accused me of breaking a vase she herself broke now claims to see me in places I've never been." "Elena, if you took those documents, Mr. Harper." Elena interrupted, her voice trembling with emotion. "I've only been working here for 2 weeks, but in these 2 weeks, I've given my heart and soul to taking care of your daughter and your home. If you truly believe I'm capable of stealing, then there's nothing more to say." She headed for the door, but William called her back. "Elena, wait." "Wait for what? To hear more accusations based on the word of someone who clearly dislikes me? If you didn't take the documents, then where are they?" "Then where are I? I don't know, Mr. Harper, but I'm certain it wasn't me who removed them." William studied Elena's face. There was genuine hurt in her eyes, but also a wounded dignity that made him hesitate. "Elena, I need to consider all possibilities. Please understand my position." "I understand perfectly. And you should understand mine." She took a deep breath. "If you want to fire me, that's fine. But I won't stay here being accused of crimes I didn't commit." At that moment, the office door burst open, and Lily came running in, carrying paper and colored pencils. "Daddy, Elena, I made a new drawing for you." She stopped when she sensed the tension in the room. "Why are you sad?" William and Elena exchanged uneasy looks. Elena crouched down to the girl's level. "We're not sad, Princess. Just talking about grown-up things." "Can I show you my drawing?" "Of course you can," Elena said, though her voice trembled a little. Lily held out the paper. It was a typical child's drawing, but what it showed was unmistakable. A tall figure with dark hair yelling at a small figure who was crying. In the corner of the paper, there was a third, smaller figure with light hair who seemed to be protecting the crying child. "Who are these people, Lily?" William asked gently. "That's me." Lily pointed to the small crying figure. "That's the evil witch yelling at me." She pointed to the tall figure. "And that's Elena protecting me." William looked closer at the drawing. The figure representing Vivian had very specific features: long hair, high heels, and a clearly angry expression. "When did this happen, Princess?" "Last night," Lily said naturally. "The evil witch was yelling at me because I spilled juice on the table, but Elena came and told her to stop." Elena and William exchanged glances. William realized that if Elena had been protecting Lily in the garden or in the kitchen the night before, it would have been nearly impossible for her to be in his office at the same time. "Lily," William said carefully, "where were you when this happened?" "In the kitchen. I was having dinner." William remembered that he had eaten out the night before. Vivian had told him Elena was in his office, but if Lily had been in the kitchen with her— "What time was that, Princess?" "After the cartoon ended on TV," Lily answered. "The cartoon ends at 8:30, right, Elena?" Elena nodded, still confused about where this conversation was leading. William felt a twinge of suspicion growing in his chest, but this time it wasn't directed at Elena. "Lily, can you go play outside while Elena and I finish talking?" "Can I stay? I like it when you two talk. You both seem happy after." "Not today, Princess, but I'll call you in a little while, all right?" Lily left reluctantly, but not before giving Elena a hug and whispering, "Don't be sad, Elena. I'll protect you too." Once they were alone again, William kept staring at the drawing. "Elena, if you were in the kitchen with Lily at 8:30 last night—" "You can check with Lily as many times as you want," Elena said firmly. "We were having dinner together. In fact, I can even show you the dishes I washed." Lily spilled grape juice on the tablecloth. It should still be soaking in the laundry room. William stood up and walked to the window. His mind was processing conflicting information. Why would Vivian lie about seeing you in my office? That's a question you should ask her, not me, Elena replied. But I can offer a suggestion. Maybe because she's wanted to fire me since the very first day I arrived here. William turned and looked directly at Elena. Why would she want to fire you? Elena hesitated, then decided to be completely honest. Because Lily likes me. And that bothers her. William was silent for a long moment. Then, as if making a decision, he began searching systematically through all the drawers of his desk. Mr. Harper, what are you doing? Looking for those documents, he answered, opening the bottom right drawer. If someone hid them here in the office? He stopped abruptly. There were the contracts, carefully folded and placed under a pile of other papers in a drawer he rarely used. Elena stepped closer and saw the documents. Are those the ones? William picked up the papers and examined them. They were intact, but definitely not where he had left them. Elena, he said slowly, I owe you an apology. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Someone deliberately put these documents here and made me believe you had stolen them. Elena felt a mix of relief and sadness. May I ask you something, Mr. Harper? Of course. Did you really believe, even for a moment, that I could steal something from this house? William looked into her eyes and saw the genuine hurt his accusations had caused. For a moment, yes, and I deeply regret it. Elena nodded, but William could tell something had changed between them. The natural trust that had started to build had been shaken. Elena, how can I make this right? She gave a sad smile. Not firing me without solid proof would be a good start. You have my word. At that moment, a knock on the door interrupted them. It was Vivian. William, how did the conversation go? Did you two find out where the documents are? William looked at Vivian with an expression she couldn't quite read. Yes, we did. They were in my drawer the whole time. In your drawer? Vivian feigned surprise. How strange, hadn't you already looked there? I had, William said slowly. But they weren't there last night when I looked the first time. A tense silence hung in the air. Elena watched the exchange of glances between William and Vivian, realizing that something important was happening. Well, Vivian finally said, the important thing is that they've been found. We should celebrate that it wasn't anything serious. Yes, William agreed, but his tone was cold. We really should celebrate that it wasn't anything serious. Elena understood the game had completely changed. William was beginning to see Vivian in a different light, and she knew this was only the beginning of a deeper investigation he would carry out on his own. After the document incident, William couldn't stop thinking. For the rest of the morning, he quietly observed the interactions in his house with new eyes. There were details he had been ignoring, signs that now seemed obvious. Around noon, he decided to leave the office early. He wanted to spend more time with Lily, and he admitted to himself, observe more closely the dynamics among the people living under his roof. When he arrived home, he heard raised voices coming from the living room. He immediately recognized Vivian's shrill voice and crying. Lily was crying. William moved quietly down the hallway and stopped before entering, wanting to understand what was happening. How many times do I have to repeat myself? Vivian's voice was full of impatience. You can't keep leaving your little toys all over the house. This isn't a daycare. I was just playing. Lily's small voice was trembling. I didn't make a mess. Of course you did. Look at this room. Dolls on the sofa, crayons on the floor, drawings spread out on the table. William frowned. That morning, before leaving, he had seen Lily playing calmly in the room, and she always took good care of her toys. Lily, Vivian went on, her tone growing harder. You're becoming too spoiled. Your mother raised you with no limits, but with me things are going to be different. Don't talk about my mom. Lily shouted for the first time. The sound of a slap echoed through the room, followed by louder crying. William felt his blood boil. He started toward the room but stopped when he heard Elena's voice. Stop right now. Elena had come into the room like a storm. William saw her immediately step between Vivian and Lily, lifting the little girl into her arms. How dare you hit her? Elena was visibly furious. I didn't hit her, Vivian lied shamelessly. I just touched her face to get her attention. Oh, so now a slap is a touch on the face? Elena shot back sarcastically. What a creative vocabulary. I bet when you trip, you call it interpretive dance. You have no right to interfere with her education. Education? Elena let out a bitter laugh. This is education? Yelling at a 5-year-old because she was playing in her own house? William watched, fascinated, as Elena defended his daughter with the fierceness of a lioness. Elena, you're overreacting. Vivian tried to sound reasonable. Lily needs to learn discipline. Discipline is not the same as cruelty, Elena replied, rocking Lily gently. And it definitely doesn't include hitting children. I didn't hit her. Of course not. And I'm the Queen of England. Elena rolled her eyes. In fact, if I really were the Queen, you'd already be deported to a place far away from here. Lily let out a giggle through her tears, which made Elena smile. There, Princess. You're better now. Want to tell me what happened? I was drawing at the table, Lily sobbed. And Vivian said I was making a mess, but I wasn't. I always put my toys away. I know you do, Princess. You're the most organized little girl I know. Lily is lying, Vivian insisted. The room was a mess. Elena looked around. There were a few crayons on the table, an open notebook, and a doll on the sofa. Nothing anyone sensible would call a mess. Vivian, Elena said with exaggerated patience, if this is a mess to you, I suggest you never set foot in a toy store. You might have a heart attack. Stop being sarcastic with me. I'm not being sarcastic. Elena pretended complete innocence. I'm being educational. It's different. Sarcasm would be me saying that your definition of mess is as exaggerated as your fashion sense. William had to hide a laugh. Elena had a unique way of diffusing tense situations with humor. You've crossed the line. Vivian shouted. I've crossed the line? Elena raised an eyebrow. You slapped a 5-year-old, but I'm the one crossing the line? Wow, I really need to recalibrate my moral compass. At that moment, William decided to step in. He walked firmly into the room, and everyone turned toward him. What is going on here? The silence that followed was heavy with tension. Vivian was the first to speak. William, thank goodness you're here. Elena has been extremely disrespectful to me. Disrespectful? Elena couldn't hold back. I was protecting Lily after she hit her. I know, William said automatically, but realized at once from Elena's look that he had made a mistake. How do you know? Elena asked calmly. Were you here? William hesitated. Technically, he had heard everything, but admitting it meant confessing he had been listening from the hall. Daddy, Lily whispered, still in Elena's arms. She hit my cheek and said bad things about Mommy. William looked at his daughter's face and saw a red mark on her left cheek. His world froze. Vivian, he said in a low voice, did you hit my daughter? William, it was nothing serious, just a necessary correction. You hit my daughter? William shouted, completely losing his composure. Elena automatically stepped back, pulling Lily with her, realizing the situation was escalating quickly. William, calm down. Vivian tried to touch his arm, but he pulled away. Don't touch me. And don't tell me to calm down when you hurt my daughter. I didn't hurt her. It was just a slap, William finished. I heard it. I heard everything. Vivian's face went pale. You were listening? I was. And I heard you yelling at her, speaking badly about her mother, and yes, hitting her. William moved closer to Elena and Lily, holding out his arms to take his daughter. Princess, are you all right? Lily nodded, but didn't let go of Elena's neck. Elena protected me, Daddy, just like she always does. William looked at Elena, who was clearly embarrassed by the situation. Elena, he said softly, I owe you more than an apology. Mr. Harper. William, he corrected her. Please, call me William, and I need to ask your forgiveness for not believing you from the start. Elena shook her head. You, William, don't need to explain yourself to me. I understand it's complicated when you don't witness things yourself. But I should have realized. I should have seen how happy Lily is with you and how tense she gets around. He glanced toward Vivian. Certain other people. Lily lifted her head from Elena's shoulder and looked at her father. Daddy, can Elena stay with us forever? The innocent question created an awkward silence. Elena blushed, William was speechless, and Vivian looked visibly irritated. Lily, Elena said gently, I work here. I'm already with you. No, Lily shook her head. I want you to live with us like a real family. William felt something stir in his chest. Looking at Elena holding his daughter so tenderly, seeing how safe and loved Lily felt in her arms, he realized he wanted her to stay too. Not just as an employee, but he cut the thought off before it could finish. Lily, Elena is already part of our family, he said carefully. Isn't that right, Elena? Elena looked into his eyes and saw something she couldn't quite interpret. There was gratitude there, but also something deeper. Yes, she answered softly. I won't abandon you. I promise. Do you really promise? Lily asked, holding out her pinky finger. Elena hooked her pinky with the girl's. I promise. William watched the scene with a mix of emotions he couldn't name. Guilt for doubting Elena, admiration for how she protected his daughter, and something else, something that made his heart beat faster when she smiled. Vivian, who had stayed silent during the entire emotional exchange, finally exploded. This is ridiculous. She's a maid. She can't be part of the family. The three of them turned toward her, and William realized he had completely forgotten she was even there. Vivian, he said coldly, I think we'd better talk in private. Fine, she answered, still furious. We have a lot to discuss. When Vivian left the room, Elena gently set Lily down. How about we go make a snack, princess? I think someone here deserves some special pancakes after all this mess. Heart-shaped ones? Lily asked, already more cheerful. Heart-shaped ones, Elena confirmed, and the two headed for the kitchen. William stayed alone in the room for a moment, processing everything that had happened. For the first time since his wife's death, he felt his house could become a home again. And he knew exactly who was making that possible. After the tense talk with Vivian in his office, William came downstairs to find Elena and Lily in the kitchen. The aroma of pancakes filled the air, mixed with the sound of their laughter. He paused at the door for a moment, watching the scene. Elena was wearing an apron, flour on her cheeks, trying to flip a pancake in the air. Lily clapped her hands from her stool, cheering that the pancake wouldn't fall on the floor. 3, 2, 1. Elena tossed the pancake up. The pancake flipped, spun in the air, and landed right on Elena's head. Elena! Lily shouted, laughing so hard she almost fell off the stool. Oops, Elena said, taking the pancake off her head as if it were the most natural thing. Looks like this one decided to be a hat instead of a snack. William couldn't hold back the laughter that burst out of him. Both turned toward him. Daddy! Lily waved excitedly. Elena is trying to make acrobatic pancakes. I can see that, William smiled. And how are the pancakes performing? Pretty rebellious, Elena said, shaking her hair to get rid of the bits of batter. This one clearly didn't read the instruction manual on how to behave like a proper pancake. Maybe it wants to be a circus artist, Lily suggested. Ah, that's it. Elena tapped her forehead theatrically. A pancake with dreams. I should have noticed from the ingredients. It looked like it wanted to fly. William walked closer, still smiling. Can I help with these rebellious pancakes? You can, Elena replied. But I should warn you, they have quite a questionable attitude today. I don't think they respect business hierarchy. I'll try using my CEO authority, William joked, picking up one of the ready pancakes. Miss Pancake, you're fired for insubordination. Lily burst out laughing. Daddy, you can't fire food. Why not? He pretended to be serious. If I can hire employees, I can fire pancakes. But if you fire all the pancakes, Elena joined in, who's going to work in our stomachs? That's true, William agreed solemnly. We'd have an internal hunger strike. The three of them laughed together, and William realized he hadn't felt this light in months. You know what? He said impulsively. How about we have dinner together tonight? The three of us? Elena stopped stirring the pancake batter. Sir? William? I don't think that would be appropriate. Please. Lily jumped down from her stool. Please, Elena. It'll be so much more fun. Lily's right, William insisted. Besides, after everything that happened today, I think I deserve dinner in good company. Elena hesitated, clearly torn between propriety and her own desire to accept. Well, she finally said, if it's an official request from the boss, it's an order, William teased. A very polite order, but still an order. Then I can't disobey, Elena smiled. But I'll do the cooking. No way, tonight you're our guest. William, I can't let you cook, you barely know how to make coffee. Hey, he protested. I do know how to make coffee, and, well, okay, maybe just coffee. See? Elena laughed. If I don't cook, we'll end up having coffee with sugar for dinner. That would be a very liquid dinner, Lily commented wisely. 2 hours later, the three of them were seated at the dining room table. Elena had prepared a simple but delicious dinner, roasted chicken with vegetables and mashed potatoes. William had insisted on using the fine china and lighting candles, turning the meal into a special event. "This chicken is amazing," William said, savoring every bite. "Where did you learn to cook like this?" "From my grandmother," Elena answered. "She used to say food only tastes good when you cook it with love." Secret ingredient number 1. "And what's secret ingredient number 2? Lily asked curiously. "Music," Elena winked. "I always cook while singing. Food likes rhythm." "Really?" William raised an eyebrow, amused. "Of course." Elena pretended to be offended. "Haven't you ever noticed how vegetables turn softer when you sing to them while cooking?" "I can't say I've ever tried talking to vegetables," William admitted. "Oh, you're missing some great conversations," Elena said solemnly. "Carrots are excellent listeners, but onions are far too dramatic. They always make everyone cry." Lily laughed so hard she almost spilled her juice. "Elena, you're the funniest person in the world." "Thank you, princess. I practiced a lot to reach this level of culinary comedy." William watched Elena talking to his daughter, noticing how she managed to make even the simplest situations feel special. The house was full of life, laughter, and warmth. He hadn't felt this sense of a complete home in months. His eyes lingered on Elena's face as she told a funny story about a cake she had tried to bake as a child that had turned into an edible brick. She gestured animatedly, her eyes sparkling with joy, and he realized he couldn't stop looking at her. Elena, noticing his gaze, stopped mid-sentence. "What is it?" she asked, brushing her cheek. "Do I have sauce on my face?" "No," William said softly. "It's just thank you." "For what?" "For making our house a home again." The silence that followed was filled with emotion. Elena lowered her eyes, clearly moved by his words. Lily watched the two adults with the natural curiosity of a child. "You're looking at each other just like the couples in the movies," she said innocently. Elena blushed bright red, and William cleared his throat nervously. "Lily, finish your dinner," he said, trying to change the subject. "But it's true," Lily insisted. "They always look like that right before they kiss." "Lily!" Helena and William shouted together, making the little girl burst into laughter. At that exact moment, Vivian stormed into the dining room like a whirlwind. "What a touching scene," she said sarcastically, looking at the table set with candles and the fine china. "William, I didn't know we had started dining with the help." The mood changed instantly. Elena stood up from her chair. "I'll clear the plates," she said diplomatically. "Sit down," William said firmly. "You're our guest tonight." Vivian laughed with disdain. "A guest? William, she's a maid. What's next? Are we going to invite the gardener for tea?" "If he's as good company as Elena, why not?" William replied. "At least he'd know the difference between rose petals and poisonous thorns," Elena answered, sitting back down. Vivian narrowed her eyes. "Excuse me?" "Nothing important." Elena smiled innocently. "I was just thinking about gardening. It's amazing how some plants look beautiful on the outside but are actually toxic." William hid a laugh behind his napkin. "Elena," Vivian said dangerously, "are you implying something?" "Me? Never." Elena put her hand on her chest dramatically. "I'm just a humble maid who knows nothing about complex botanical metaphors." "William," Vivian turned to him, "are you going to allow her to talk to me like this?" Elena didn't say anything wrong, William answered calmly. "She was only making a comment about plants." "Exactly," Elena agreed. "By the way, Vivian, did you know there are carnivorous plants that look pretty but devour everything that comes near them?" "Fascinating, don't you think?" Lily giggled, fully understanding that Elena was teasing Vivian. "You?" Vivian began, her face turning red with anger. "Me what?" Elena feigned total confusion. "I'm being educational. Actually, maybe we should plant some of those carnivorous plants in the garden. They're excellent at eliminating unwanted pests." William couldn't hold back anymore and laughed openly. Vivian grew even more furious. "This is outrageous. William, either you put this woman in her place or what?" Elena stood up, still smiling but with a sharper tone. "What will you do, Vivian? Accuse me of breaking another vase? Hide more documents? Or maybe claim I'm an international spy disguised as a maid?" "Enough!" Vivian shouted. "I will not tolerate this anymore." "Perfect," Elena said cheerfully, "because I also won't tolerate seeing you mistreat this wonderful child or disrespect this family." "This family?" Vivian laughed bitterly. "You are not part of this family." Elena looked at William, then at Lily, who had stood up and moved to her side. "You know, Vivian, Elena said calmly, family isn't about blood or a marriage certificate. Family is about love, care, and protection. And by that definition, I feel much more a part of this family than you. The silence that followed was so heavy it could be cut with a knife. Vivian was speechless. William watched Elena with growing admiration, and Lily held Elena's hand tightly. Daddy, Lily finally said, can Elena always have dinner with us? William looked at Elena, then at his daughter, and finally at Vivian. Always, he answered. Whenever she wants. The morning after the disastrous dinner, Elena woke up earlier than usual. She hadn't slept well, replaying the events of the night before in her mind. The way William had defended her, how Lily had stood by her side, and most of all, the look William gave her when he said, always. She went down to the kitchen still in her pajamas and robe, planning to prepare breakfast in peace before everyone else woke up. But as she passed William's office, she heard voices from inside. She found it strange, since it was only 6:30 in the morning. She recognized Vivian's voice, but there was another she couldn't identify. She cautiously approached the half-open door, not intending to spy, but worried that something might be wrong. Margaret, you don't understand, Vivian was saying on the phone. The situation is getting out of my control. Elena recognized the name. Margaret was the neighbor Vivian had mentioned before. No, it's not that simple, Vivian continued. William is starting to suspect me, and that maid is turning both him and the child against me. Elena froze. She knew she should leave, but something in Vivian's urgent tone made her stay. You don't understand, Margaret. I can't lose William now. I've already invested 2 years in this relationship, and I'm just months away from getting what I want. There was a pause, and Elena imagined Margaret was speaking on the other end of the line. Of course it's about the money. Vivian laughed bitterly. Do you think I'd put up with that spoiled child and that house full of memories of the dead wife for love? Please, Margaret, give me more credit. Elena's eyes widened. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. The plan was simple. Marry him, wait about 5 years, ask for a divorce, and walk away with half the fortune. But now there's this Mexican in the way. I'm Texan, not Mexican. Elena murmured involuntarily, then quickly covered her mouth, shocked that she had spoken. And William is getting closer and closer to her. Vivian went on. If I don't do something soon, I'll lose everything. Elena felt sick. All that acting, all that cruelty with Lily, it was all part of a plan to steal from William. I know I need to get rid of her, Margaret, and I have a few ideas about how to do it. If I can prove she's trying to seduce William to get his money, I can turn the tables. At that moment, Elena heard footsteps on the stairs. Someone was coming down. She panicked and without thinking, grabbed her phone and hit the record button, moving closer to the door. William is so naive, Vivian was saying. He really believes I love him. If he knew I spend most of my time with him picturing numbers in my bank account, he'd be shocked. Elena managed to record a few more seconds before hearing Lily's voice calling for her from upstairs. Elena? Where are you? Elena quickly put the phone away and moved away from the door, hurrying toward the kitchen. Her heart was pounding so hard, she was sure everyone in the house could hear it. I'm here, princess, she called back, trying to sound normal. Lily ran down the stairs in her unicorn pajamas. Good morning, Elena. She jumped into the maid's arms. You woke up early today. Good morning, my love. Elena hugged her, still processing what she had just heard. I thought I'd make special pancakes to start the day, right? Star-shaped ones? Star-shaped ones, Elena confirmed, but her mind was far from pancakes. While preparing breakfast, Elena couldn't stop thinking about the recording on her phone. She had solid evidence that Vivian was using William, but how could she tell him without sounding like she was making things up for her own benefit? Elena, Lily tugged at her blouse. Are you okay? You seem a little strange today. I'm fine, princess. Just thinking about new recipes. Pancake recipes? Yes, pancake recipes. Elena lied, stirring the batter automatically. William came down for breakfast a little later, already dressed for work. Good morning, girls, he said, kissing Lily's forehead and smiling at Elena. How are you today? Fine, Elena answered quickly, avoiding direct eye contact with him. Breakfast is ready. William noticed something was off in Elena's behavior, but didn't comment. During breakfast, Elena could hardly eat. She kept watching William play with Lily, being so loving and attentive, and her chest tightened thinking of how devastated he would be when he found out the truth about Vivian. Lily said suddenly, "Elena recorded something on her phone this morning." Elena almost choked on her juice. "Recorded?" William looked curious. "What did you record, Elena?" It wasn't anything important," she stammered. "Just a recipe I heard on the radio." "Can I hear it?" Lily asked. "I love it when you explain recipes." "Lily, it's not interesting for children." Elena tried to change the subject. "Please?" Lily gave her cutest look. "Princess, let Elena finish breakfast first." William intervened, noticing Elena's discomfort, but Lily had already grabbed Elena's phone from the table. "Lily, no!" Elena stood up quickly, but it was too late. The girl had pressed play on the last recorded file. Vivian's voice echoed through the kitchen. "Of course, it's for the money. Do you think I would put up with that spoiled child and that house full of memories of his late wife for love?" William froze, his fork suspended in the air. Elena quickly snatched the phone and stopped the recording, but the damage was done. What was that?" William asked slowly. "William, I can explain," Elena began, desperate. "That was Vivian talking," Lily said innocently. "She was talking about money." William looked at Elena, then at Lily, then back at Elena. "You recorded Vivian talking about money?" Elena let out a heavy sigh. There was no more hiding. "It wasn't on purpose. I came downstairs early and heard her talking on the phone. When I realized what the conversation was about, I recorded it because I thought you should know the truth." "What truth?" Elena hesitated, glancing at Lily. "Princess, how about you go play in the garden for a little while?" "But I want to stay." "Lily," William said gently, "do what Elena is asking. I'll come play with you in a moment." Lily left reluctantly. When they were alone, Elena looked straight into William's eyes. "William, Vivian admitted on the phone that she doesn't love you. She said she's with you for your money and that she plans to marry you and then ask for a divorce to keep half your fortune." William stayed silent for a long moment, processing the information. "Are you sure about what you heard?" "I have the recording," Elena said sadly. "I can show you if you want. But William, you need to know that I hesitated a lot before telling you this. I was afraid you'd think I made it up to benefit myself somehow." William slowly stood up from his chair. "Elena, can I listen to the full recording?" Elena nodded and handed him her phone. William put it on speaker, and together they listened to the entire conversation Elena had managed to record. When it ended, William looked pale. 2 years, he whispered. 2 years pretending to love me. William, I'm so sorry. No, he cut her off. You did me a favor, a huge favor. If it weren't for you, I would have made the biggest mistake of my life. At that moment, they heard high heels coming down the stairs. Vivian walked into the kitchen, perfectly dressed and smiling. "Good morning, darling." She leaned in to kiss William, but he pulled back. "Vivian, we need to talk, now." "Of course, love." "About what?" William glanced at Elena, who gave him an encouraging nod, then turned back to Vivian. "About Margaret, about money, and about the truth." Vivian's smile disappeared instantly, and Elena knew the mask was finally about to fall. The silence after William's words was so heavy, Elena could hear her own heartbeat. Vivian stood frozen in the middle of the kitchen, her artificial smile still plastered on, but her eyes had lost all their shine. "Margaret?" she repeated, as if she didn't understand. "What Margaret?" "Your friend Margaret," William said calmly, though Elena noticed his hands trembling slightly. "The one you were talking to on the phone an hour ago." "William, dear, I think you're confused." Vivian tried to laugh, but the sound came out forced. "I didn't talk to Margaret today." "You didn't?" He picked up Elena's phone from the table. "Then this must be my imagination." Vivian looked at the device, and Elena saw the exact moment she realized she'd been caught. Her face went pale, then flushed red with anger. "You recorded me?" She turned to Elena, fury in her eyes. "You snake! You spied on me!" "Hey, calm down." Elena stood up, instinctively placing herself between Vivian and the doorway where Lily might appear. "I didn't spy on anyone. You were shouting in the office at 6 in the morning. Lucky the neighbors didn't hear too." "William?" Vivian ignored Elena and spoke directly to her fiancé. "You can't believe this. This intruder. She's obviously trying to break us apart. Why would she?" William asked with a calmness Elena admired. What would Elena gain by breaking us apart? Oh, it's obvious. Vivian gestured dramatically. She wants to take my place. She wants you and your money. Elena couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. Really? That's your defense? Accusing me of exactly what you just admitted you're doing? I never admitted anything. Vivian, Elena said in a patient tone. You literally said on the phone that you're with William for the money. That's not a poetic interpretation. That's a direct quote. William, are you really going to believe her word over mine? William looked at Vivian for a long moment before answering. Actually, Vivian, it's not just her word. I've been noticing inconsistencies in your behavior for a while. What inconsistencies? William walked over to the kitchen drawer and pulled out a piece of paper. Elena recognized it immediately. It was the drawing Lily had made, showing Vivian yelling at her. This drawing, for example. Lily drew you yelling at her, but you swore you never raised your voice at my daughter. Vivian glanced at the paper and forced a laugh. William, it's just a child's drawing. She has Down syndrome. You can't take that seriously. Elena felt a wave of anger wash over her. Oh, so now you're going to use Lily's condition against her? Elena crossed her arms. How convenient. When it suits you, she's a normal child who needs discipline. When it doesn't, she's a special child who doesn't know what she's saying. I didn't say that. Yes, you did. William stepped in, his voice growing harder. And that's another inconsistency. Sometimes you treat Lily as if she's just like any other child, and sometimes you use her condition as an excuse. At that moment, Lily appeared in the kitchen doorway, clearly drawn by the raised voices. Why are you yelling? Elena immediately went to the little girl and picked her up, moving her away from the center of the argument. We're just talking, princess. Nothing serious. But Vivian looks angry, Lily said with the honesty only children have. Vivian looked at the girl in Elena's arms, and something in her expression changed. It was as if all her frustration had suddenly found a target. Do you know what, Louis? She said with poisonous sweetness. Maybe this really is your fault. If you were a normal child, none of this would be happening. The silence that followed was absolute. Elena felt Lily stiffen in her arms, and William turned so pale she feared he might faint. How dare you? William exploded, jumping to his feet. How dare you speak to my daughter like that? William, I was just what? What? He kept shouting. Blaming a 5-year-old child for your own crimes? Elena took advantage of the attention focused on the fight to leave the kitchen with Lily and take her to the living room, away from the confrontation. Elena, Lily whispered, did I do something wrong? No, my love. You did nothing wrong. Never. Elena hugged her tightly. You're perfect just the way you are. From the kitchen, the raised voices still carried. Vivian, you just showed who you really are. William's voice was heavy with disappointment. Blaming an innocent child for your own problems is the most cowardly thing I've ever witnessed. William, please, you're overreacting. Overreacting? Elena heard footsteps pacing in the kitchen. Vivian, you lied about loving my daughter. You lied about loving me. You set Elena up to look guilty, and now you're blaming Lily for all of this. Which part of that am I overreacting to? Elena heard Vivian begin to cry, but they were clearly fake tears. William, please, we can talk about this. I can explain. Explain what? His voice was calmer now, but coldly controlled. How you plan to use me for the next few years. How you were going to pretend to love my special daughter until you got half of my fortune. Elena couldn't resist and moved closer to the kitchen door, still holding Lily, who seemed fascinated by the argument. William, you don't understand the pressure I was under. Vivian tried to sound vulnerable. Margaret gave me terrible advice. She influenced me. Oh, so now it's Margaret's fault? Elena couldn't hold back and appeared in the doorway. Yesterday it was my fault. Today it's Lily's fault. Now it's Margaret's fault. You really have an impressive talent for finding scapegoats. Elena, stay out of this. I will not. Elena adjusted Lily in her arms, especially when you attack a defenseless child. By the way, Vivian, careful. Your makeup is melting before your mask falls off. And it was true. With all the tension and the fake tears, Vivian's makeup was smudging, revealing a bitter and cruel expression she usually hid well. William, Vivian made one last attempt. 2 years. 2 years together. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Of course it does, William replied. It means 2 years of my life wasted on someone who completely deceived me. And you're throwing it all away because of a Mexican maid? First of all, Elena cut in cheerfully, I'm Texan, not Mexican. Second, even if I were, what would be the problem? And third, he's not throwing anything away, he's taking out the trash. Lily let out a little giggle in Elena's arms, which made Vivian even angrier. Even the child is laughing at me. The child has a name, William said coldly, and she's laughing because Elena makes her happy, something you were never able to do. Vivian looked around the kitchen as if searching for something to break or throw, but William anticipated her reaction. Vivian, I want you out of my house. Now. What? You heard me. Pack your things and leave. Today, William, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious in my life. He crossed his arms. And before you ask, no, we're not taking a break to think things over. We're not talking again once things calm down. It's over, Vivian. Forever. Elena watched the scene with a mix of satisfaction and pity. Satisfaction at seeing the truth finally come out, and pity for William having to go through that kind of disappointment. You'll regret this, William Harper, Vivian said with venom in her voice. When you find out who this Mexican really is, Texan. Elena and Lily shouted together, making William smile for the first time that morning. When you find out, Vivian went on, ignoring the interruption, you'll beg me to come back. I doubt that very much, Elena commented. But if it does happen, you can be sure I'll record it too. For educational purposes, of course. William couldn't hold back the laugh that escaped, and that seemed to be the last straw for Vivian. You'll all regret this, she shouted, storming out of the kitchen. Half an hour later, they heard the front door slam, followed by the sound of a car speeding out of the garage. William sank heavily into a kitchen chair, running his hands over his face. It's over, he said simply. Elena came closer, still holding Lily in her arms. How are you feeling? Relieved, he admitted. Very relieved, and very grateful. Daddy, Lily asked shyly, did the wicked witch go away forever? William smiled and opened his arms to his daughter. Yes, princess, forever. Yay! Lily jumped from Elena's lap into her father's arms. Now we can be happy. Elena watched father and daughter hug, and her heart warmed. At last, that house could become the happy home William and Lily deserved. In the weeks that followed Vivian's departure, the Harper mansion slowly turned into a real home. Laughter echoed through the halls. The smell of pancakes filled the kitchen every morning, and for the first time in months, William found himself smiling for no reason. Elena had moved into a larger room on the main floor, at Lily's insistent request, who argued that the new mommy of the heart needed to be close to them. William not only agreed, but insisted she decorate the room however she liked. Elena, William appeared at her bedroom door one Friday afternoon. May I talk to you? Of course, she said, closing the book she was reading. Did something happen? William stepped inside and sat in the armchair by the window, looking nervous. Actually, I needed to talk to you about a few things. Sensing the seriousness in his tone, Elena sat on the edge of the bed, giving him her full attention. I never really told you about Sarah, my wife. William, you don't have to. Yes, I do, he interrupted gently. You deserve to know. Sarah died 2 years ago, cancer. It was very quick. One day she was fine, 3 months later she was gone. Elena felt her chest tighten. I'm so sorry. The worst part is, I didn't know how to deal with the pain. I buried myself in work and practically abandoned Lily emotionally. She was left with nannies, then with Vivian, and I hid from my own daughter because she reminded me too much of Sarah. William stopped, his voice breaking. When you came, and I saw how Lily blossomed with you, I realized how badly I had failed as a father. You gave her something I couldn't. Attention, affection, presence. William, please let me finish, he gave a sad smile. I owe you much more than an apology. I owe you eternal gratitude for giving my daughter her happiness back. And me too. Elena's eyes filled with tears. You don't owe me anything. Lily is a wonderful child. Anyone would fall in love with her. But not just anyone would stay. Not just anyone would stand up to Vivian, protect Lily, and still manage to bring this house back to life. Before Elena could answer, Lily burst into the room like a whirlwind. Elena, Daddy, come see. She tugged them both by the hand. I made a surprise. They followed her to the living room, where Lily had set up a picnic on the floor with sheets, pillows, and a simple snack of cookies and juice. "Lily, this is beautiful," Elena exclaimed. "It's a family picnic," Lily announced proudly, "to celebrate that the Wicked Witch is gone and now it's just the three of us." William and Elena looked at each other, smiling. "What a wonderful idea, Princess," William said, sitting down on the floor. "But why a picnic indoors?" "Because that way you two sit closer together," Lily answered with a child's innocence, literally pushing Elena nearer to William. "Lily," Elena laughed, embarrassed. "What?" Lily pretended total innocence. "The sheet is small. You have to sit closer, you'll fall off." William laughed out loud. "Her logic is flawless, very flawless," Elena agreed, trying to ignore how her heart sped up when William sat beside her. During the picnic, Lily kept up a lively conversation about her drawings, her dolls, and the new tricks she had taught the little fish in the aquarium. But Elena noticed the girl also took every chance to push one adult closer to the other. "Elena, can you grab the juice that's next to Daddy?" Lily asked, even though it was clearly closer to herself. "Daddy? Elena is cold. Can you share your pillow with her?" she suggested, even though the air conditioner wasn't even on. "Elena, Daddy is sad. Can you give him a hug?" she said, making William laugh. "I'm not sad, Princess." "Yes, you are. I can see it in your eyes," Lily insisted seriously. "Mommy used to say that hugs heal sadness in the eyes." Elena and William looked at each other again, both touched by the child's wisdom. "Your mother was very wise," Elena said softly. "She was. She also said that when Daddy found a new mommy for me, I would feel it in my heart." Lily looked straight at them. "And I know." The silence that followed was full of emotion. "Lily," William began. "Elena is my new mommy," Lily declared simply. "From the heart. She's different from mommy who is in heaven, but she's a mommy too." Elena couldn't hold back the tears that started rolling down her face. "Oh, sweetheart, it's true." Lily threw herself into Elena's arms. "You take care of me, play with me, protect me from the Wicked Witch, and make flying pancakes. If that's not what a mommy does, I don't know what is." William watched the scene with his heart overflowing with feelings he couldn't even name. "Lily's right," he said softly. "You're more of a mother to her than many people who have the official title." Elena hugged Lily tightly, then raised her eyes to William. "Thank you for letting me be part of your family." "Elena," Lily pulled back and looked at her seriously. "Can you call Daddy William, my love, like people do in the movies?" "Lily!" Elena and William shouted at the same time, making the little girl burst out laughing. "It was just a question." She defended herself between giggles. In the days that followed, Lily doubled down on her self-proclaimed mission as a matchmaker. She began to forget Elena and William alone in romantic situations, made up excuses for them to hold hands, and made comments that left the two adults blushing. "Elena, did you know Daddy said you're beautiful when he thinks I'm not listening?" she announced during breakfast on a Tuesday. "Lily," William almost choked on his coffee. "He did say it. And he also said you make the best chocolate truffles in the world," she went on cheerfully. "Because they really are the best," William defended himself, avoiding Elena's eyes. "And you, Elena, you said Daddy has a nice smile when he's really happy." Lily turned to her. "I? Well?" Elena stammered. "And that he looks even nicer when he plays with me in the garden," Lily added, satisfied that she had embarrassed them both. "Lily, you shouldn't repeat adults' conversations." Elena tried to sound strict, but she was laughing. "Why not? You say nice things about each other. You should say them out loud too." William looked at Elena and smiled. "You know, she has a point." "She does?" Elena raised an eyebrow. "She does. You really do make the best truffles in the world. And the best pancakes. And you have the most beautiful smile I've ever seen." Elena felt her face warm up. "William, and you, Elena," he went on, stepping closer. "You're right about my smile. It only really looks nice when I'm with the two of you." Lily watched the scene with her eyes shining with satisfaction. "Are you going to kiss now?" she asked directly. "Lily," they both shouted again, but this time they were laughing too. "It was just a scientific question," she protested. "In movies they always kiss after saying such nice things." William looked at Elena, who was trying to hide her laughter behind her hand. "You know she's not wrong about the movies," he said softly. "She's not." Elena agreed, her heart racing. They leaned in slowly, aware that Lily was watching them like a film critic. When their lips finally met, it was a gentle kiss, full of promises and feelings kept for too long. "Yay!" Lily shouted, clapping her hands. "Finally! Now are you official boyfriend and girlfriend?" William and Elena pulled apart, laughing. "Lily," William said, still holding Elena's hand, "would you like it if I asked Elena to be my girlfriend? I'd love it." She jumped out of her chair. "Elena, will you be my daddy's girlfriend? He's really nice and makes great coffee." Elena looked at William, then at Lily, and felt her heart was complete. "Yes, I will," she said simply. "Really?" William asked, needing to be sure. "Yes, I'll be your girlfriend. I'll be part of this crazy family, and I'll be Lily's mommy from the heart forever." "Hooray!" Lily cried, running to hug them both. Now we're a real family. And as the three of them embraced in the sunlit kitchen that Tuesday morning, Elena knew she had finally found her place in the world. 6 months after officially becoming a couple, life at the Harper mansion had settled into a happy and chaotic routine. Elena had learned that William left socks scattered around the bedroom, that he sang 80s songs in the shower, and that he had the peculiar habit of making funny faces at Lily during breakfast. William, in turn, discovered that Elena talked to herself while cooking, that she was afraid of small spiders but faced big problems without hesitation, and that she could make Lily laugh even on the hardest days. On a particularly sunny Saturday afternoon, William invited Elena and Lily for a special outing where they had shared their first happy day together as a family. "Why are you so nervous, Daddy?" Lily asked in the car, watching as William checked the rearview mirror for the 10th time. "You look just like when Elena has to take her driving test." "Hey," Elena protested from the front seat. "I drive very well, thank you. I'm just cautious." "Mommy, Elena, yesterday you stopped at a green light because you thought it was too green to be real," Lily replied with the relentless logic only children have. "That was extra precaution." Elena defended herself, making William laugh despite his nerves. At the park, William suggested a walk to the lake. Lily ran ahead, as she always did, stopping to examine every flower, rock, or little bird she came across along the way. "William," Elena said, noticing how nervous he still was, "is everything all right? You've been acting strange since yesterday." "Have I?" He tried to sound casual, but his hands were clearly sweaty. "Yes, you have. You look like you hit a body and you're afraid I'll find out," she teased. "Well, not exactly a body," he muttered. "What?" Nothing. Look, Lily found ducks." Indeed, Lily was crouched by the lake, chatting happily with a group of ducks as if they were old friends. "Mommy, Elena! Daddy!" She waved. "The ducks want to know if you brought bread." "We sure did, Princess," William called back, pulling a bag of crumbs from his backpack. While Lily had fun feeding the ducks and telling them stories, William took a deep breath and turned to Elena. "Elena, can I ask you something?" "Of course, you can ask as many things as you want." "Are you happy? Here, with us?" Elena looked at him, surprised. "Of course I'm happy. Why would you ask that?" "It's just that—" "Well," William stammered, then took another deep breath. "Elena, these last few months have been the happiest of my life since Sarah died. You turned our house into a home, you made Lily smile every single day, and you made me realize I could love again." Elena felt her heart race. "William, let me finish, please," he smiled nervously. "I know I'm not the most romantic man in the world. I know I have flaws. I know I work too much sometimes and forget to put away my socks." "You forget to put away your socks all the time," Elena interrupted, smiling. "All the time," he agreed, laughing. "But I love you. I love how you take care of Lily. I love how you make flying pancakes. I love how you face awful people with humor and courage. And I would really love—" He knelt down on the grass, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. "Elena Torres, would you be my wife?" Elena covered her mouth with her hands, her eyes filling with tears. "William." "Yay, yes," Lily's shout echoed through the park. "Daddy just asked Mommy Elena to marry him." The little girl ran toward them, scaring the ducks, who flew off in every direction. "Sorry," she panted when she reached them, "but I couldn't miss this part. It's the best part in the movies." Elena was laughing and crying at the same time. "William Harper," she said, holding out her hand. "I accept. I'll marry you, and I officially accept being Lily's mom forever." "Hooray!" Lily shouted so loudly that several people in the park turned to see what was happening. "Now we can have a big party with cake and everything." William slipped the ring onto Elena's finger and stood to kiss her, but Lily jumped between them for a group hug. "Sorry to interrupt," she said, without looking the least bit sorry, "but I helped plan this surprise, and I want my hug too." 3 months later, on a golden spring morning, the small local church was decorated with simple flowers and filled with people who truly mattered. There weren't hundreds of guests, just close friends, a few of William's co-workers, and the small family Elena had built over the years. Elena wore a simple but elegant dress, holding a bouquet of daisies, Lily's favorite flowers. William waited for her at the altar, more handsome than she had ever seen him, with a smile that lit up his whole face. But the absolute star of the ceremony was Lily, who carried the rings on a small satin pillow, walking down the aisle with the seriousness of someone holding the most precious treasure in the world. "Careful not to drop it," she whispered to herself, focused on her mission. Careful not to drop it. When she reached the altar, she handed the rings to the pastor and then turned to the crowd. "They're getting married now," she announced proudly. "And then we'll have cake." Laughter echoed through the church, and Elena felt her heart could burst with happiness. During the vows, William promised to love Elena and Lily forever, to protect his family, and to try to remember to put his socks in the right place. Elena promised to make heart-shaped pancakes for the rest of her life, to protect her new family with humor and courage, and to love unconditionally both the man and the little girl who had completely changed her life. When the pastor declared them husband and wife, Lily shouted, "Now you can kiss," before he even finished the sentence, causing another wave of laughter. At the simple garden reception that followed at the mansion, Lily went from table to table, telling everyone she met that she now had an official mom, and that they were the happiest family in the world. During the wedding waltz, Elena whispered in William's ear, "Thank you for letting me be part of your story." "Thank you for making our story worth living," he answered, twirling her gently. "Daddy, Mommy." Lily appeared beside them, tugging on their clothes. "Can I dance too?" William picked her up, and the three of them danced together in the flowered garden, under the blue sky of a perfect afternoon. Later, when the guests had already gone and Lily was sleeping soundly in her room, Elena and William sat on the porch watching the stars. "You know," Elena said, resting her head on his shoulder, "when I first started working here, I never imagined I'd find a family. I never imagined that a stubborn Texan housekeeper would win both my heart and Lily's in just a few weeks." William laughed, kissing the top of her head. "Stubborn?" Elena pretended to be offended. "I prefer the term persistently charming." "Persistently charming," he agreed. "And thank you for being exactly that." Elena looked toward Lily's bedroom window, where a small nightlight cast soft shadows on the wall. "Do you think Sarah would approve?" she asked gently. William was silent for a moment, then smiled. "I'm sure she would. Sarah always wanted Lily to be loved and protected, and you do both better than anyone I could ever imagine." They stayed there, wrapped in each other's arms under the stars, knowing they had found something many people spend a lifetime searching for. A true home, built not with blood or duty, but with genuine love, shared laughter, and the certainty that they would always be there for one another. What did you think of Elena and William's story? Leave your opinion in the comments. Rate this story from 0 to 10. What score would you give? Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to follow all our stories. And don't forget to check out more touching stories by clicking here on the final screen.